Video thumbnails. They're one of the biggest topics we talk about here at vidIQ, and during our weekly channel audit live streams, that's the thing we scrutinise most. And you ask us, how do we make thumbnails? So, from start to finish, this is how we make thumbnails that look like this. Let's do this.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.
vidIQ.com.
Hello, I'm Rob and welcome to vidIQ, the YouTube tool and channel that aims to educate you on your YouTube journey. Today's video is part of a series all about improving thumbnails on your YouTube channel, because readers judge books by their covers, viewers judge videos by their thumbnails. You have a very small graphic and a very small amount of time to convince somebody to click on your video, so you have to use it as wisely as possible. Now, this particular video is a little bit of a twist on thumbnails because it is not a tips and tricks expert guide. It is my personal journey through the adventures of making thumbnails. My thumbnails used to look something like this. I knew I had to improve them, and I've spent the last year doing just that. And the audience seems to agree. Click-through rate on our channel has increased 100% over that time. I would call myself a thumbnail enthusiast at this point, but I still have a lot to learn, and there could be tips and tricks and extra advanced skills that could make them even better. But for now, this is what I know, and this is exactly how I do it. My thumbnail creations always start with two things: a plain cream wall to use as a temporary background and this ring light. For me personally, purchasing a ring light was the game changer. You find these in cosmetic shops, and a lot of beauty channels use these to blast a lot of concentrated light over a confined amount of space. This is the newer RL18 ring light, and it has two dials which allow you to control the exact amount of light you want to use and whether it has that warm, soft orange look or a more cool clinical white appearance. The ring light kicks out a lot of light, so you only need to have it on a low setting for it to have dramatic effects. One thing you do need to keep an eye on, however, are Android eyes. The closer the ring light is to your face, the more chance a viewer has of seeing white circles in your eyes, which might be distracting or intentional. Oh, and if you're wondering what all of this is about, my girlfriend decided to paint one of my fingernails last night and I forgot to wash it off. To get rid of this Android circle eye effect, what you can do is place the ring light further away from you and turn up the brightness. And you should get the same effect with less white eyes. Now it's time to put on your best YouTuber face if you intend to be in the thumbnail. Think of it like this: whatever expression you intend to use, crank it all the way up to 11. It will never look quite as stupid as you imagine when you're holding the pose, and it will look perfect for the thumbnail. Trust me, every YouTuber practices this around 3 hours at... Is he pointing at me? When you're ready, set your camera to burst mode so you have a collection of pictures to choose from. I take 3 pictures at 1 second intervals, and I leave the camera on automatic mode. The camera I use is a Panasonic G7 with the kit lens. This right here, Rob, this is what proves you're an idiot. No memory card! Never blame your tools, folks. Never blame your tools. When you do remember to insert a memory card, you'll get pictures that look like this. All of these are bright, colourful, well-expressed poses, and I've decided I'm going to go with this one. But now we need to get rid of that background because it's, well, to be honest, quite boring and it's too similar to my skin tone. So let's jump onto a computer and turn this into something that starts to resemble a thumbnail. When you create a contrast between a foreground and a background, each element of your picture really starts to pop. So what we want to do is get my YouTube pose stuck onto this blue background, just to demonstrate how powerful this can be. To do this, we need to cut me out of this image as if cutting a picture out of a newspaper. The best way to do this through Photoshop, which is what I use here at vidIQ, is the magnetic lasso tool. All you need to do is click on a starting point and then draw your mouse around the shape, and you will see anchor points automatically create themselves with lines attached to each one. Photoshop does a pretty good job of working out these cut points automatically, but occasionally you will need to click a point manually, especially if there are two edges or lines with distinct colours that are close to each other. Hair can also be particularly tricky to draw around, especially if you have long never mind about that. Once you've joined the dots, so to speak, click on your starting point to complete the trace and then use the cut command. Next, go to the background image and paste that bad boy in. Boom. Now you can maneuver your image into place and clean up any bits such as this area here, which has a bit of a wall background. Fortunately, in this case, I can use the magic wand tool to sort that out. You can of course use the magic wand to clear the whole background, but it's not as accurate or reliable as the magnetic lasso tool. Now let's add a bit of magic sauce to my image. Go to filter at the top, then select sharpen, followed by unsharpen mask. This will draw out all the detail, the lines, the contour of the face, and to be honest, at full size, it may look a little too sharp. But remember, 99.9% of your audience will see this image at postage stamp size, and this unsharpened mask really brings out the detail. Alright then, the thumbnail is taking shape, but we need to make it a vidIQ thumbnail, and that's done through branding and elements that we use in every single thumbnail. What we need for that is a template. While this background is okay, it doesn't quite match the company blue, so we're going to move my image over to our template thumbnail. What we have here is a background that we use on every single thumbnail. The vidIQ logo in the bottom left hand corner that we use in every single thumbnail. And this font type and colour that we always use whenever we include text in a thumbnail. This establishes branding and consistency throughout our artwork, so you know instantly when you see one of our thumbnails, you know it's a vidIQ video. I haven't quite decided whether to use text in this one yet, so I'm going to leave it in there for now, drag my image into the template, resize it and rotate it a little bit to make sure my surprise pose is looking at whatever objects I'm going to insert on the left hand side of a thumbnail. Next is a little personal touch I like to add which can divide opinion. If you bring up layer styles, you can add an outline to images such as a shadow, outer glow or stroke effect. I like to do this because it hides some of the rough imperfections in the process of cutting the original image out, and personally I just think it makes me stand out even more. In this example, I'm going to add a white stroke effect, adjusting the line thickness to get it the way I like it. Alright, now we have the hero or the persona in the image with a strong evocative pose, we need them to be drawn to something. I'm conscious that the video title is going to be something along the lines of how to make a thumbnail, so I don't want to repeat that text in the thumbnail. So I've decided to go for a construction theme, and this is how I'm going to build it. I've got a construction sign image here that I'm going to pull in, remove the white background, and then make nice and big to fill the right side of the thumbnail. Now to add some YouTube flavour to the mix, I'm going to bring in the logo, and I have two choices here. Either I can cover up the tools, or hand the logo above the text. I think covering the tools looks best. Now I'm adding a small black stroke effect to give the YouTube logo an outline, and because I already have some text in the sign, I'm going to delete the default font and its banner. Yes, this is a rare occasion when I'm not using our default font. Now I have more space to play with, I'm going to make the sign stand out some more with a drop shadow, increase the size and rotate the whole thing around a little bit. And this is the finished product. 3 dominant colours, blue, yellow and red, that I think contrast well with each other, and a very simple design. And that is the key, because remember, nobody sees your thumbnail at this size. They see it at this size. I think at a maximum your thumbnail can include 3 points of focus. Any more and they're too complicated. Oh, and because we use branding and consistency, can you spot the other vidIQ thumbnail here? So that is how I make vidIQ thumbnails, but I've got to be honest with you folks, I'm not a huge fan of this particular thumbnail. I think the execution is absolutely fine, but I think it's lacking in concept and creativity. By itself, it's not really clear what's under construction. Is it YouTube as a whole? This is where the title is really going to have to help complement the thumbnail. Now I could be more explicit, and that's what I attempted to do with this thumbnail that you can see on screen now, with the green arrow pointing to my thumbnail, my literal thumbnail. But it just looks weird and the lighting doesn't look right, and I wasn't really keen on the idea. Another idea I've just thought of is having 2 construction ribbons running across the image that say under construction. But to do that, I'd have to go back to the drawing board and start this video all over again. Yeah, thumbnails are not easy to create, and in this particular occasion I got thumbnail creator's block. So I'm satisfied with the final product. I give it a B-, but I could do better. As I said at the beginning of this video, this is a journey through my thumbnail creating process, and it doesn't always go 100% to plan. If you have any questions or would like to add your own tips, tricks and strategies to the thumbnail conversation, let us know in the comments below. We've got another thumbnail video over here. We'll see you on either of those videos right now while I jazz out to this music.